playing a last game of cricket before the end of the season. Time to shift gear. Get your head into the right place, Clive told himself, as he leant back in his seat and shut his eyes. So long, Kinlochleven. Hello, Moscow. How long had it been since he'd set foot in the place? 2 years? Really? 2 whole years? In Moscow, Clive had been a diplomat, a member of Her Majesty's FCO. On paper, he was married. In practice, he was getting a divorce and lived alone in a bachelor flat. At the British Embassy, Clive had held the rank of Second Secretary, then Political Counsellor. And then, nothing. After Moscow, he announced that he no longer wanted a career in the diplomatic service, but would be happy to keep working for the FCO as a Russian interpreter and translator. The FCO gave him work around the clock, a G20 here, a G8 there, a meeting of foreign ministers, the Olympic Committee, the Winter Olympic Committee, the UN climate change conferences, until he thought he was going mad and demanded a sabbatical. Of course, the job had its perks. At the last G20 in Hangzhou a year ago, Clive remembered how exhilarating it felt to be sitting in a room with the most powerful men and women in the world. President Serov had shaken his hand and congratulated him on his Russian. Clive was flattered, just as he was flattered that morning when Hyde told him he'd been seconded to the Prime Minister's office. This was a first. He'd never been seconded before. Sharpen up, he told himself. As the helicopter came into land at RAF Northolt, the sun hit the horizon and turned the sky blood red. On the tarmac, Clive was met by a young man in a bow tie and a 3-piece suit, who introduced himself as George Linton from the Prime Minister's office, and who insisted on taking Clive's holdall as he led the way to the VIP terminal. Passing through various checkpoints, he brandished a special pass with an air of self-importance, while Clive was searched and searched again. "All very tedious," said George, who was no more than 25 years old, and yet seemed to belong to another century, with his exaggerated self-confidence, languid gestures, and upper-class accent which didn't seem quite real. Clive decided within minutes, in fact, that George's posh drawl had been learnt, as you learn a foreign language, laboriously and with intent. The VIP terminal was almost empty, except for 2 separate groups of people huddled together in different corners of the lounge. In one group, Clive spotted several people of Chinese origin. "Changing room number 1 is all yours," said George. "You'll find a new set of clothes on the hangers. Everything else is in the suitcase, including a wash bag with toothpaste, razor, the lot, and a 4-week supply of insulin, Humalog." 4 weeks? That was my idea. They said 2 weeks, and I thought, why not 4?